This is Reality Dispatch by Jim Minns.
North along the shoreline, the lands and shrubbery began to emerge. It was a relief for the crew who longed for still soil to settle the effects of the rank produce that had not survived the trip, yet were the only option for eating. "Spot any eatin' McCall?" the captain asked. Jericho McCall did not remove the scope from his eye as he scanned the horizon back and forth along the coast. His belly dictated his passion for discovery. He was looking for anything with a pulse. "Nada," he replied. It was a crew of 5 that had left port with 18. Most had died of dysentery somewhere between India and Batavia. They were not an official trading ship, but they would trade whatever they could get their hands on that would sell. They lacked any moral fortitude beyond survival. 2 of the now-deceased crew were murderers. Whether they had committed these acts before boarding was unknown, but what was known was that they had certainly murdered one another when the rum flowed. Jericho spotted movement amongst the shrubs. They hadn't even identified the lands they were about to anchor. He did not say a word to his colleagues. He wanted the prize for himself. "Best we dock here. Needn't waste more time on a scan. Be better we hunt on foot." His English was broken, but his point was heard. Jericho would hunt the prize first and feast on its flesh before the others. He would kill if they interfered with his task. But he dare not kill them all, nor make enemies, for the journey was not halfway done, and Batavia was still many days, if not months, away. Jericho drew his bowie when his feet touched the sand. He stood amongst the shrubs where his eyes revealed the rustling. He stood on a nest of vipers who were more startled by his stomps than he was of their presence, and before he could react to preserve his life. They had struck him 18 times on his shins, the babies letting off more venom due to their lack of control. Convulsing, Jericho landed on top of the nest and was met with 6 more strikes, this time from the grown reptiles. The captain found his lifeless torso 20 minutes later as they had split up to find sustenance. He knelt and saw the damage the snakes had made to his old comrade and planted the man's trusted knife in the soil just above his head. "Ain't we gonna bury him, Captain?" the dish kid asked. "In a viper nest? I ain't think so," the captain replied. Sandeep walked along the newly constructed boardwalk of the shoreline. It was a land untouched for 300 years. There was a local government fight to stave off any overdevelopment of the site, which was always successful due to its use as a wastewater dump. He was wearing sandals, but took them off on a particular stretch to feel the wet, muddy soil between his toes, to remind him of his childhood. The pinch of a rusted dagger struck the underside of his sole. He lifted his foot to see the source of his injury. He buried his hands into the soil and discovered Jericho's abandoned knife. The man had long turned into ashes and dust, but his tool lived on and continued to inflict harm, even incidental harm.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimminns.substack.com.